I wasn't supposed to give birth that night. Not at 32 weeks. Not alone. Not in a cold hospital room with fluorescent lights flickering above me like anxious stars. But life never cared what I was supposed to do. The contractions hit me like lightning while I was washing dishes after dinner. One moment I was drying a pot. The next I was gripping the counter, trying not to collapse as sharp pain twisted across my abdomen. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. My husband, Daniel, had passed away 2 years before. My parents knew how hard this pregnancy was for me. They promised they'd be there no matter what. They even said it like a threat, like I owed them something for their presence. So when I called them and said, "Mom, Dad, I'm bleeding. I think she's coming early," I expected panic, concern, movement, something. Instead, I heard slot machines in the background. Loud, chaotic, mocking. My mom shouted over the noise, "Can you hold on? We just landed." "Landed?" I whispered, clutching my belly as another contraction ripped through me. My dad stepped closer to the phone. "Your brother bought us Vegas tickets as a surprise. We're here for 3 days. Babysit a little longer?" "Baby!" I gasped, voice breaking. "She's coming, early. I need—" Mom cut me off. "Don't make this dramatic. Women give birth all the time." Another wave of pain hit and I nearly dropped the phone. "Please!" I cried out. "I'm alone. She's early. I'm scared." Dad sighed, irritated. "We told you not to get pregnant again after Daniel died. You weren't ready, so don't put this on us." I pressed my palm against the wall, trying to steady my breathing, but the bleeding only grew heavier. I didn't care about pride. I begged. "Please, I need someone. I need help. Mom, please come back. I'm scared." Then my little brother, Seth, the golden child, took the phone. His voice slurred with excitement. "Stop ruining the vibe. We just got here. You always pick the worst timing." "Worst?" I choked. "I'm delivering your niece." He laughed like I told a joke. "Good luck then." And then, over the booming casino noises, my mom delivered the line that would etch itself into my bones forever. "Winning money is more important than your mistakes." Mistakes. That's what my baby was to them. And they hung up. They hung up while I was crouched on the floor, bleeding, shaking, terrified. By the time I reached the hospital by Uber, everything was a blur, fluorescent lights flashing above me as nurses rushed me into a room. "She's premature," one nurse said. "We need to move fast." I kept asking, "Can someone call my parents?" They said they'd come. "Please try calling." The nurse returned a few minutes later and shook her head. No answer. Of course not. They were probably winning a round of blackjack. The contractions came faster, harder, unstoppable. I screamed into the thin hospital pillow, clutching the rails of the bed as the doctor called out orders. I wasn't ready. I wasn't supposed to be alone. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. I cried so hard I could barely breathe, not from pain, from abandonment. But somehow, my daughter came into the world anyway, tiny, fragile, fighting. They placed her on my chest for one brief, trembling second before whisking her to the NICU. She was barely bigger than my 2 hands. Her skin was translucent, her breaths uneven, her little fingers twitching like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to exist. "Hold on, baby," I whispered, sobbing. "Please, hold on." Hours passed before I got to see her again. Tubes, machines, beeping monitors. It all surrounded her tiny body like a fortress. I held her hand. Her whole hand was smaller than my thumb, and whispered her name. Emily. She flinched at the sound, like she knew it, like she understood I was the only one there for her. My phone buzzed at 2 a.m. "Mom, did you have it yet?" Not her. Not Emily. Not, "Is the baby alive?" It. I stared at the message, hands trembling. Dad texted next. "We can come on Monday if our flight isn't delayed." Monday. It was Friday night. My daughter might not make it through the weekend. Seth chimed in too. "Don't be mad. You know how much Mom needed this trip. You'll be fine." I didn't respond. I didn't cry anymore. Something inside me had already broken, and in that same place, something new began forming. Not rage, not revenge, yet clarity. The next morning, after 3 hours of staring at Emily through the NICU glass, my mother called. "Okay," she said breezily, the casino noise still behind her. "We won some money. We might fly back tomorrow if you pay part of the ticket." I didn't speak. "Hello?" she snapped. "Stop sulking. This is life. Get used to it." Then Dad added, "Don't make your problems ours. You chose to get pregnant again. Deal with it." Chosen. As if I chose to give birth early. As if I chose to be alone. As if I chose for Daniel to die. "Anyway," Mom said, "update us if the baby dies so we don't waste the trip." My breath hitched, and before I could react, the phone ended. I stood frozen in the dim hospital hallway, lights buzzing overhead, a nurse rolling past me with a tray, life moving normally around me while everything inside me shattered. My daughter, premature and fragile, fighting for every breath. And my parents were laughing in Vegas, that night, as I watched Emily's tiny chest rise and fall. Slow, uneven, I made myself a promise, a vow carved deeper than blood. They would never have power over us again. Not over me, not over Emily, not over her life or her future. The next morning, the NICU doctor found me slumped in the chair beside Emily's incubator, still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. I hadn't slept. I didn't want to. Every time Emily's breathing monitor beeped, my stomach dropped like I was falling through the floor. "She's stable for now," the doctor said gently. "But we're watching her closely. Her lungs are underdeveloped. Stable, but not safe, not out of danger." I nodded even though my throat hurt too much to speak. A NICU nurse touched my arm. "Do you have anyone who can sit with you?" The question twisted like a knife. "No," I whispered. "It's just me." She hesitated, her eyes softening. "I'm sorry." I forced a smile. But when she walked away, the truth sank deeper. I really was alone. My parents didn't call again until noon. "Mom, we just woke up. How's the situation?" Situation. My child fighting for her life was a situation. Dad added, "Send a picture if she's hooked up to machines. Seth wants to see." My fingers shook as I read the message. I didn't send anything. A few minutes later, another message lit up my phone. "Mom, if she looks really bad, we might skip the rest of the trip, but only if it's serious." The rage hit me so hard I nearly dropped the phone. But then a soft cry came from the incubator, and everything inside me calmed instantly. Emily's tiny fingers curled, trembling like she was reaching for something she couldn't grasp. My heart melted and broke at the same time. I stood and placed my hand on the glass. "I'm right here, baby. Mommy's right here." She twitched, her chest rising in tiny, strained breaths. I felt my lips quiver. "I won't leave you," I whispered. "I'm not like them." Hours passed. Nurses came and went. Machines hummed. Fluorescent lights flickered against the pale walls, but my phone didn't stop. Seth, "Mom's upset you're not replying. Don't be dramatic." Dad, "This is why you shouldn't have gotten pregnant after your husband died. You can't handle the stress." Mom, "If the baby survives, don't expect us to babysit a premature child. We don't have the energy for a sick kid." The words blurred. My ears buzzed. My chest tightened. A nurse saw me gripping my phone too tightly and gently asked, "Do you need a break?" I shook my head. I can't believe this is my family." She sighed. "Sometimes blood isn't family." I wanted to cry again, but I couldn't afford tears. Emily needed me steady. Around 6 p.m., a doctor approached me with serious eyes. Her oxygen levels dipped earlier. We administered additional support. She needs constant monitoring tonight. My legs nearly gave out. "Can I stay?" I whispered. "Of course," he said. "We'll bring a cot." I didn't leave her side for even a minute. While I sat there staring at her fragile body, my phone buzzed again. "Mom, we hit a jackpot, $14,000. Maybe your brother's luck will rub off on you." Dad, "See? This is why we came. Opportunities like this don't wait." Mom, Winning money is more important than dealing with your mistakes. That was the second time they'd said it, and it stabbed deeper the second time. I looked at Emily through the incubator, her tiny chest lifting with effort, her eyelids twitching, her fingers curling and uncurling like she was fighting a storm. This wasn't a mistake. She wasn't a burden. She was my child, my whole heart. And they were calling her a mistake from a casino hotel room. I turned the phone off completely. Not silent. Not do not disturb. Off. The world felt quieter instantly. Hours later, while the NICU machines beeped rhythmically, a nurse placed a warm blanket around my shoulders. "You're doing everything right," she said softly. "Your daughter feels you here. Your presence matters." Presence. Something my parents had never given me, even when I was the one in a hospital bed as a child. Suddenly, memories I'd buried began climbing back to the surface. My mom leaving me alone in school plays, my dad skipping every award ceremony, the way they treated Seth like gold and me like an obligation. And now they were repeating the cycle. This time with my daughter. The cycle ended with me. Around midnight, Emily's breathing steadied. The doctor gave me a small, hopeful nod. And for the first time in hours, I exhaled. I sat beside her, held her tiny hand through the porthole, and whispered, "Your life deserves people who show up." As I stared at her fragile body fighting to stay in this world, a new kind of resolve hardened inside me. Colder, stronger, sharper than anything I'd ever felt. A realization that shook me. If my parents could abandon their own daughter in premature labor, what would they do to Emily later? If they could choose slot machines over me, what else would they choose over her? If they saw her as a mistake, how long until they made her believe it? I wouldn't let that happen. Not again. Not ever. Not to her. And Section 3 would be the moment I took the one thing they valued more than anything, access to us. I just needed the right moment and the right weapon. Not violence, not theatrics, not poetic justice, but something real, something permanent, something they couldn't gamble away. The next morning, before the sun came up, I walked straight into the hospital's family services office with a folder under my arm, the same folder I had been quietly building in my mind since the night they left me bleeding on my kitchen floor. A counselor sat across from me, weary but kind-eyed. "How can we help you?" I placed the folder down. Inside were printed screenshots of every message they sent while I was in labor. The mistake comments, the skip the trip unless the baby is dying. The Vegas photos they posted while I was being prepped for NICU admission. The voicemail where my mom said, "We're not rushing home for something you caused." The counselor's expression hardened by the third page. "We can open a case for medical neglect and emotional abandonment," she said. "You have more than enough." "I also want a legal boundary order," I said, "for my daughter and myself." She nodded. "We can start that today." For the first time since Emily was born, I felt the ground beneath me solidify. By noon, the process had already begun. Emergency restrictions, documentation, and formal reports protecting Emily from any future manipulation or neglect from my parents. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, it was permanent. That afternoon, they finally called again. "Mom, we land in 2 hours. Be ready to pick us up." I didn't reply. "Dad, and don't bring the baby. We don't want to catch anything." I still didn't reply. 2 hours later, they walked into the hospital, laughing, dragging suitcases, wearing casino wristbands. Seth had sunglasses on indoors like he was hungover. Mom spotted me first. "Well, how's the situation?" I didn't even stand up. I slid the paperwork across the NICU waiting room table. Mom frowned. "What's this?" Dad grabbed the first page and skimmed the top line. His face went white. Not pale. White. What is this?" he stammered. "It's a formal medical abandonment report," I said calmly. "Filed by the hospital." Mom's eyes widened as she read faster. "You reported us?" "You abandoned your daughter during premature labor," I said. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's documented. Dad tossed the papers on the table. You can't do this to us. We're your parents. No, I said. You're adults who chose Vegas over your granddaughter's life. Mom's voice pitched sharp. Undo it, now. Instead, I slid them the second envelope. Dad opened it with shaking hands. A formal petition. No visitation, no contact, no involvement, no rights. Mom's face twisted. You're cutting us off? You cut yourselves off, I said. We were celebrating, Dad yelled. Your brother gave us this trip. And I was delivering a premature baby alone, I said. So we're done. Mom lunged forward like she wanted to grab my arm, but a security guard stepped up instantly, NICU protocol. Ma'am, he warned, please step back. Her jaw dropped. You called security on us? No, I said. The hospital did. Seth scoffed. This is overreacting. They just wanted a few days away. A few days, I repeated. While Emily might not have survived the night. Mom tried one last angle, the fake softness she always used when consequences hit. We're family. You can't erase us. I stood. My voice didn't shake. I'm not erasing you. I'm removing you before you damage her the way you damaged me. Dad's face crumbled. People will think we're horrible. You are, I said. A doctor came over and gently asked, Is everything okay here? I nodded. Yes, we're done. Mom realized then, really realized, that she'd lost access to me, to Emily, to the image she used to maintain as a grandmother, to the control she'd fed on for years. She reached out like she might fall. Maya, don't do this. I stepped back. You left me alone in labor, I said softly. This is the price. Security escorted them out. They didn't scream. They didn't fight. They didn't argue. They just looked deflated, like all the air had been punched out of their lungs. That night, I sat beside Emily's incubator, placing my hand near hers. Her tiny fingers curled weakly around mine. We're safe now, I whispered. They can't touch us. Emily breathed, slow and steady. Her grip tightened, and for the first time since she was born, the air around us felt calm, quiet, free. My parents didn't just lose the blackjack money, they lost the one thing they could never gamble back, access to my daughter's life, and the daughter they abandoned the night she needed them most. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.